This episode of the Social Sessions podcast is proudly sponsored by Dundee Sole, the East Coast #1 choice for Adidas rarities, casual attire or shoe restoration. Enjoy the episode.
The first brand I ever fell in love with was Adidas.
Aye.
First brand, purely like the three stripes. It was more to do with football. Like
Aye.
most what young boys love, not everybody's, but is football. And like the Predator boots was just something that I always wanted.
Aye.
The first weekend that when I started school on that Monday, there was a knife stabbing murder on the Saturday night just before that. Scotland's always had its problems with knife crime. Well, like what we spoke about before, not that the East Coast doesn't have a problem. I've always found that the West Coast was like where the serious problem was. I blame it on since the crack is took over. That is heavily what I'm saying is one of the rooted problems of it. I call it the top boy culture. One of my philosophies behind this is, I'll take the city centre for example, is I used to look at the city centre like it was my favourite place in the world. All the shops, all the life, all the excitement, the buzz. Remember in the 90s when the scores used to come in, loads of boys would be standing outside Dixon's looking at the TVs and stuff. I used to love that. And now it's just a wasteland, so...
So, welcome to Social Sessions. Today we're joined by Kris Boyle from Dundee Sole. How you doing, Kris?
I'm speaking on the mic. Doing good, mate. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, mate. So listen, we're here. We've got a few different things we're going to talk about, but I'm just going to do what I do every day, right? Take you back to kind of where you grew up. So I know it was Dundee. Was it kind of rough part of Dundee?
To be honest, right, I never grew up in a rough part. My mum, she was a heavy Catholic back in the 90s. Remember, Celtic Rangers, heavy sectarianism. So she had this. She really wanted me to be in a Catholic school.
Aye.
This was a big determination for her. But to be honest with you, it's probably the worst decision she ever made in her life.
Aye.
She took me up this wee shelter school called Clipperton, and then she put us into St Peter and Paul's, was at the top of the whole town. And I've been speaking about it quite a lot recently since of the campaign stuff. But the first weekend when I started school on that Monday, there was a knife stabbing murder on the Saturday night just before that.
Right.
So I remember going into the school after that, and that was the heavy topic of because people in the school had seen it, just young kids and stuff. And yeah, that's.
Was it young kids?
No, that I was a dispute that happened in the Boozer. I think I can't really remember. But yeah, the guy he died on that night, and I had just been moved to that school 2 days later.
So see, when you were growing up, obviously I'm jumping forward a wee bit here, but was there a gang culture in Dundee?
Heavy gang culture, yeah.
And because obviously I'm from Cumbernauld, which is kind of overreach of Glasgow, right? And it's so that overspill, there was that gang culture, where you're for different schemes and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
It's called postcode wars now. Everybody calls it that, but yeah, when we say gang culture, when we talk about it, it's never drug related or anything like that. It was just purely the boys where you were from. You know what I mean? That was your area, and then you stuck that.
Aye. I think the difference is now is young ones are getting introduced to organised crime at a very young age.
Very,
you know what I mean?
early, yeah.
Whereas when I was younger, don't get me wrong, Glasgow's always had that, and Edinburgh's always had that, but I always say it. See, when you were younger, see, if you knew the local drug dealer, do you know what I mean, or the local person that sold the drugs, everybody kind of knew who that was. Do you know what I mean? Now there's
everybody said that. Yeah,
there's so many people in it.
Back in the day, you had to be a bit of a head case to even try and sell drugs.
Aye,
you had to be.
Aye.
I tell everybody this story. I remember how hard it was to get a bit of dope back in the day. And I used to go to this guy's house. I'll not mention names, but he was a big steroid head. You know what I mean? He was a heavy coke head, and if you went into his house, you weren't leaving for about 2 hours. You know what I mean? He just wouldn't let you leave. He's like, look at this, man. He's his top off, and he was just an absolute nutter. But that was the sort of person you had to be to do that back in the day. You know what I mean? Or somebody was coming and taking it off you, and that was it.
And was it always everybody going up, sitting there going, who's going up today? And all that?
Somebody was taking him up, his boys sitting in the car for 2 hours waiting, texting where the fuck are you?
You're waiting for a joint.
You're scared to leave, but you haven't even got the dope yet. But yeah, that's a dramatic change, and from back
Aye.
then to now, what goes on. Yeah.
No, the culture, and I think we'll go into it, but I think cocaine and the normalisation of cocaine's been a big part of that. Do you know what I mean? But so growing up, how was your school years and stuff like that? Was that kind of?
Yeah, really, I was quite intelligent for a young age. Like my family had high prospects for me, but like it says, I got stuck in to the heavy area. The streets, like I love the streets. I've learned everything that I know from the streets.
Aye.
Absolutely everything from boys, like watching boys or associating with people, or just the culture of it, basically. Yeah, that grabbed a hold of me at a very young age.
I know, because when I was doing a wee bit of kind of research on you yourself, Chris, it was saying that's you kind of done that through kind of trainers as well, like you kind of generations, and each pair of trainers tells a story.
Yeah, like everybody could associate to stuff like the first brand I ever fell in love with was Adidas. Right? First brand, purely like the three stripes. It was more to do with football. Like most young boys loves, not everybody's, is football, and like the Predator boots was just something that I always wanted. You couldn't afford that.
You used to get them in the cage.
Yeah, stuff like, and like if somebody was wearing them on like in Sunday league, and you're like, whoa, they've got Predators on. Just the memories like that. Like it starts from a young age, and everybody can associate with.
They were like 150 quid.
Yeah, in 1998. Yeah, man, like
wow,
that was, if you were asking that for Christmas, that's all you were getting. You know what I
mean? So obviously school years is all right, and then so where did you go? Did you go into kind of college, uni, or did
I got kicked out of school in the third year.
Right.
I started to I would say I just disassociated with it. I was bored with it, to be honest with you. Looking back at it now, and that's like hindsight, you know what I mean? Like nothing was really grabbing my attention. So yeah, I sort of fucked up after that, to be honest with you, because the decisions I made there held my life back, I would say, about 15 years.
Aye.
Realistically.
No, but I think, see, I've spoken about it a few people on here, and the curriculum doesn't suit everybody. And see, like when you've got all these new labels coming out, ADHD and all these kind of things, we all had pals that were like that.
Yeah.
And you could probably go, he had a wee bit of autism, he this, he that. But everybody just went to school and it was the same thing you done. Whereas I believe that there is so much space for individualising boys. See, like boys with ADHD, they will have a passion that they'll be able to kind of tune into.
Yeah, definitely.
And see if you get them into that. That's the way to get them away from the kind of...
I watched this programme on Asperger's. And it was a guy they were trying to get him back into work.
Aye.
And they couldn't get him a job, but he was mad on computers. And they got him like I can't remember what it was, like a trial at this computer company. And he was in there half an hour, and he was able to tell them that they had a glitch in their system and why this glitch was in their system.
Aye.
You know what I mean? He was telling these boys like high up, and they're just like, what the fuck? This guy's not even employed.
Aye.
So yeah, like the possibilities with these sort of things are incredible.
I know.
To watch that was pretty incredible. You know what I mean?
No, and I think when you look back at like the lost people that you kind of lost, or like the people that got lost in that curriculum and didn't want to go to school, do you know what I mean? Because it was boring them or whatever. Because I remember going to, I wanted to do drama at school. My mum was like, that's a rubbish subject, do you know what I mean? And like it made me pick French or something.
See, back then like I didn't feel like we were encouraged to chase those sort of dreams. I believe it was cool to know nothing, you know what I mean, and do nothing. Like somebody to come up and actually want to do drama, you would have balls to do that. You know what I mean?
Aye. No,
It's
it wasn't the subject that everybody wanted to do, was it? It was like modern studies or whatever. And even at that, it was just this. I remember boys just going, just history, like whatever.
Yeah,
it wasn't. And then the same thing was in the history. It was World War II, like the same kind of stuff that you get taught.
JFK, everybody wanted to watch the JFK.
And then it's like, and obviously, when you look at the way the world is now, I mean, a lot of it seems to be a lot of rubbish. I mean, not so in World War II, but like JFK, and you look at all these things, so many different takes on it now. Do you know what I mean? And what's actually involved. And I think a lot of people have been like conditioned. This is only my view, Chris, but going through school, they get conditioned in a certain way to believe a certain kind of
agenda,
live in a kind of in society, the way society wants you to live. And some people aren't built like that. Some people are built different. They're free spirits. They want to go and do what they want to do. Do you know what I mean? And that can often...
Some people question what they're told, for example. And a questioning it's a problem, yeah.
And I think that's, you're told not to question adults. And listen, I've met a lot more children that have got a lot more responsible than adults. That way, where you've met children that are way beyond their time and adults that you would never listen to in a million years. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's always been a kind of notion that I don't take to. Do you know what I mean? I don't take to. But so everything's gone well with school, and then I know that something happened. Was it outside Sam's, Fat Sam's, the nightclub?
That was, yeah. I got kicked out of school. I would probably say that I found myself not in the wrong circles. It would just be like lads, the same sort of circles you probably were in. You know what I mean? Just boys are boys, and like when you're that young age as well, especially, you tend to gravitate towards your peer group more. But yeah, the incident that happened outside Fat Sam's was.
You were 18, weren't you?
I was 18. I always explain it like a story of karma, because before that incident happened, that I was in the town one night, and I just came around the corner, and there's this boy running, and something's happened, like there's been a commotion, and one of my mates is behind him, and he's like, "Get him." So I say it like I was not like glamorise it, but it was probably the sweetest punch I've ever threw in my life.
Aye.
The boy was running into me. I just caught him perfectly, but I put his teeth through his lip, like up here, and I got caught for the police. I got charged, obviously. I was getting done with serious assault at the time, so I got a court date for that. And at the time, I had an apprenticeship, and the court date was for a Thursday. So I've convinced my mates, like, I'm off tomorrow. Let's go out Wednesday night. It was student night at the time. So went out.
Nights were great, weren't they?
Wednesday, exactly. Yeah, it was like, this is the time when like the town was alive. You know what I mean?
Aye.
So yeah, because Fat Sam's used to be, it was packed when this happened. So we go in. There's three of my mates and me, and we go in. And unbeknownst to me, what's happened is one of the boys I'm with, a girl that he's just split up with, she would have been about, I don't know, maybe 16 at the time. He's 18, she's 16, and she's been shagging. She was working at McDonald's. And she'd been shagging her boss at McDonald's, who was roughly about 25.
Aye.
So it's a classic case of like bigger boys and stolen sweethearts.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Aye.
So he's obviously went in and seen him. I've went to the bar, so I've not seen any of this. So he's kicked off, basically, with the boy. So by the time I turn round, all I see is my mate getting pushed about for 3 boys. Because his mates have stepped up, and they're basically pushing about like a dafty. So I know the story.
Aye.
So I see the boy giving it big legs. So I'm just like, fuck it, is that right? So I leave the bar and walk up to him, and as the court reports will say, the court reports will say that I headed him first, which I can't really remember, to be honest with you. But like, I went up to him with to start a fight. You know what I mean? I know he's a barman, mate. So basically, I was in a fight, and like, you know yourself, when you're in a fight, it just takes over. I've got him down, and when I've got him down, I'm just raining punches on him, and obviously, I'll go by court reports. He's had something and he's took it out. So when I've had him down like this, obviously he's stuck it up, and it's went through my lip here, up through my other lip here, and then just into here. And he also stabbed us in the shoulder as well. So I've got him down, and I'm just raining punches. And if you've been in a fight in a nightclub, like usually what happens is you're going to get grabbed by the bouncer at some point. So the bouncer grabs me, and he lets us go instantly. So like, I'm in my head, I'm like, well, that's not right. And I thought I've had a drink through my face, but so like I could feel the hot sensation that we were talking about earlier on. So he gets us into, there's like a wee side room bitty where you like, you know, if you're going to get lifted or whatever, you wait for the police. So I'm in there, and this is the first time I'm in the light, and the blood is just insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, I'm sitting in a chair like I am now, and it's just streaming off as like a tap. Big massive puddle all along the floor, and it's just no stopping. And I'm just sort of, I would say I'm in shock, because I'm not registering.
Of course. It's
What's
panic,
going
fight
on?
or flight, isn't it?
My mate comes in to the room, and he just looks at us like I'm a monster, and he just goes, I'll never forget it. He just goes, "You could see your teeth, bro." Because obviously my lip was a part here, so I'm like, oh, fuck, that's no good. So yeah, I remember getting took in the ambulance and like protesting that I didn't want strapped up and all this stuff, but they done it to us. I can't really remember much about being in the hospital. I remember I was trying sort of, because I was still full with the bevy, to try and chat up the doctor, because the doctor was quite hot. But the only thing I do remember is they're saying like, we need to phone your next of kin. And I was like, yeah, please don't. Because like they were telling us like how bad my face was and all this stuff. At this point, they didn't know I'd been stabbed in the shoulder. They just
Aye,
thought
aye.
it was my face. So I was like, please don't. So I just thought that was left at that. And then obviously, like a wee bit later, I found out through doing the anti-knife workshops, because we spoke
Right.
to my mum with a college when I was doing it, that she got a phone call and got told that I'd been hit with a bottle. So she just thought that I'd been hitting the bottle in the back of the head, and they were giving me a couple of stitches. So I hear my mum's voice when I'm in the ward, and I'm just like, to the nurses, I'm like, please don't let her in.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Please don't let her
Aye.
in. And she just came bursting through like mum does anyway. And I just looked at her. I just remember bursting out crying.
Aye.
You know, because like,
Of course.
I didn't want my mum to see us like
No.
that. And I can't really remember much else about that. I remember when they were stitching me up, she was holding my hand. And I remember like really trying not to squeeze her hand, because it was fucking painful. You know what I mean? They're pulling your face together. And yeah, I remember that. And then I remember going out the hospital in the morning, and then I've came into the house and I'm going up the stairs, and I'm feeling pretty defeated at the time. But I remember my dad, he came down, because obviously he didn't come to the hospital,
Aye.
so he didn't know what was going on. But he looked at us like I was a monster. Like, you see when somebody's face,
Aye, you just know.
you just
Aye.
know. And I still hadn't seen it at this point. But yeah, after that, I was drinking through a straw for a month. I was lucky. Like, I try and say this, like, to everybody I've been speaking to and all the information I've got over the past couple of months, I was really lucky. Like, if I'd ended it up here,
Oh, it's 2 inches away, isn't
yeah,
it, man?
and like we were talking about slashing earlier on,
I know.
like if you get up here, it's not like it's no bad, but it's no as bad. The area that they got me in, obviously, like the muscles in my face and everything else, I had to go to like these classes to get my face to like sort of lift up
Aye.
again. Still hasn't. I've got a crooked smile.
I mean, I've done an amazing job, like, on fixing it. Do you know what I mean? Because
A lot of people don't even know it's there.
You wouldn't know. And this is it. I mean, I'm pretty sure the photos, and we might even be able to get a couple of photos off you if that's that, and we'll be able to show them. But so how does that shape you? Are you looking at this point? Are you looking for revenge, or are you looking for? Are you look? Aye. So obviously, because that's what comes first into it, like that kind of anger, kind of.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like it turned me. I was like, I wasn't a straight sailing guy before that,
Aye.
and the incident itself, like, it showed me that I need to like change my ways, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once that's happened to you, until you actually like feel like you've settled it, you know what I mean? It was the vengeance or revenge or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that consumed me for a while.
I know.
Because it was just like, I never lived my life like that, ever. I've spoke about it with loads of other people as well. Like, when you're young laddies, like, everybody makes mistakes. Like, even with gang fights or
Aye.
just daft stuff. Like, I've had, like, fights with boys when I was, like, in my teenage days that we can sit and laugh about it now. You know what I mean? We'll
Yeah.
hear a couple of pints and we'll laugh about it.
I think that is the way most fights go, but it's like even like like we take my case for example, is like a fight that went completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? And somebody lost their life, and it caused a huge impact on a full community, like 2 full communities probably, and so many family members, and it's hard. How did your mum and that take it?
The effect it had on my mum was the biggest pain I got from it. Like, whatever happened with me, like, I always say, my mum's an angel. Like, I'm
Aye.
very lucky to have my mum in
I'm
my
the
life.
same. I know.
Yeah. Like, because not everybody's got one. So,
know.
like, I do say the advantages that I have for people in my life, like my mum, for instance, and my granda, straight away, like, I don't know where I'd be without them. So, for her to, like, witness all that, and yeah, the effect it had on her, yeah, that was the hardest part of the whole thing for me.
No, I remember, like, I remember going to court and, like, somebody go, like, first day in Pullman. I never slept a wink. I was, like, fucking basically greeting man the full night. Like, I just remember, and then I obviously had to put that mask on when you're greeting up, and then the next, somebody, my wee pal, Spence Feasterhouse, he came in and fired a daily record under the door, and it was like on the front page, and it was said like party killer, and then it said that like their version of the story, the kind of hanging, totally kind of like that sensationalized kind of like stuff, like it totally like wasn't the way things happened, but I just remember thinking, how's my mum gonna? This
Yeah,
is
feel
going
like that, yeah.
I like, and my granny and all that. Do you know what I mean?
This was a different time with the tabloids as well. Like anything went, did it?
Oh, I mean, the stuff they used to write about myself, like, I don't know. And then it's weird because when you get the good press, when you get like, so I had like Russell Findlay, who's like the shadow justice minister for the Tories. He looked into my case because it was one of the worst miscarriages of justice he's ever seen. I had Mark Daly in that for the BBC who looked into it. And the whole reason they couldn't take mines any further was basically because they said that I should have been done with a thing called art and part, which is like you're acting in concert, so it didn't matter anyway who done it. Do you know what I mean? It was like one of the ones where you are the kind of right. So I can only talk, like, I'm only thinking about, because I just remember hearing the story of my granny walking into the police station, and she obviously thought, oh, he's just probably similar to you. I was just like similar to you, like not an angel, but certainly no jumping about, like killing people or anything. So it was like when I went into the police station and I heard that story that my granny went in and they just said, oh, he's been charged with murder and left her. That still kind of, you know, it's still, because my granny's not here anymore, so it kind of does still haunt me to this day, that thought of that. But also the other thought, like, it works both ways. There's both people getting an instant like mine, like it's no just like one. So it's both. It's as I say, the impacts.
I think your story is like
crazy.
It's slightly different because, like, in all these instances, there's obviously the victim side and perpetrator side and everything else, and everybody's hurt. But obviously, with your story, it's slightly different. You know what I mean?
I know mine is a mess.
You tell it like there's a slight guilt to it, like, and I don't feel like you should. If you know what I mean.
I know that, and it's not. Do you know what it's like? It's because the boy didn't deserve to lose his life. Do you know what I mean? And that's the sad thing is he wasn't a bad boy or anything. The boy was a nice boy. I've heard like loads of people saying loads of nice stuff about him. But it's one of these things where it's hard because when you're talking about knife crime, and obviously we're going to go into it, and it's weird as me being as a convicted murderer, right? And then obviously you campaigning for anti-knife crime, right? And this is where I think we're going to have a good, powerful discussion, because I think you can look at stuff objectively. And I think it's been amazing that you're actually able, as a victim, to look objectively. You've went through the revenge part, you've went through all that thinking and all that kind of stuff, and you've made a success of yourself, Kris. And you're no hung up on what happened to you now. And you're actually going into your community and trying to sort things. No, I know we're going to go into this. I don't fully agree with your
I know that. I understand the reasons why that.
You know what I mean? But I think it's amazing the work you do. I think it's needed, grassroots.
I appreciate that, man.
We need people going in. I think it's brilliant that you do these things. So, so obviously, like, I can only imagine, how long did it kind of take for you to get back into kind of normal life, if you like?
To be honest with you, like, once it happened, the only thing that was on my head was getting back. Right, the boy who done it to me was like the anti-me. Like, when you look at me, like, the long hair and like the dress sense and whatever else, he was like blonde, spiky hair, like a wee fucking hairdresser's car. Yeah, he was like the anti-me. So, and like we spoke about, like, the impact it has on like the families and that. That just, I remember the first time I got him. It's actually quite funny. Everybody suffers from nipple rash. You know what I mean? I used to. My clothes was my identity back in the day, especially when I didn't have as much money. So, like, every item of clothing was fucking. So I used to have this Ralph Lauren long sleeve custom polo shirt, and I used to give a serious nipple rash. So I wore this fucking vest underneath it to stop that. You know what I mean? So the first time, like, I've ever came into his company after it's happened, funny enough, we're in Fat Sam's again, and my mate Dino comes out and he just went, mate, he's in there. So I was like, where? So we walked in and he was at the bar and I seen his hair, so I was just fucking right over, and fair play to my mates were all there with us, you know what I mean? So I grabbed him by the throat. There's just instinct. I grabbed him by the throat straight away, but I've grabbed him with my right hand and I've not got a left hand. So I stuck the nut on him, right? And he ripped my top clean off my back.
Were you mad got to do that?
Mate, I was standing in Fat Sam's with this fucking vest on and I was just like, honestly. So my mate gives us a top and all this, but The reason, like, that story, because the only person that I wanted to tell that I got him was my mum.
Aye.
So, like, I went home, like, I pulled my mum out of bed at 4 a.m, like a fucking deranged maniac, like, I got him, you know what I mean?
Aye.
And she doesn't even really want to hear that either, but I was just like, I was like, wait, you know what I mean?
No, I get it, and listen, it's did that kind of go like that to you, like that? I can leave that now and put it to bed. No,
He,
do you still to this day? Do you still harbour resentment, or
no, I don't, because when I look at the full situation, like, I scared the boy away.
aye,
Like, I did get the better one mentally, but, like, my attitude towards it was, I think you're a shite bag for what you've done.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not scared of you. And
Aye,
I'm going to scare you. Like, I used to turn up at his work many times. I attacked him many times. Like I said to you before, like, I didn't stand up in court and say he done this.
mm-hmm.
Because, like, the mentality of...
It was actually you that got punished, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got punished, like
one of the incidents after it, like I said, me and my mate ended up getting community service for attacking him. And then after that incident, like, we've drove past each other and he's fucking smiling at me. Like, I've middle of the road, handbrake on, and he knows it as well, because I knew where he lived and he wasn't far away from his house, and I'm belting along the road behind him. He must have just got into his flat just before I got there.
aye,
And at this point, he'd already smashed up his car, and I knew he was on camera. So I remember this, like, standing outside his house just fucking fizzing because I couldn't do anything. And that's the anger, that's the control this boy had of me.
No, I think, do you know, a good pal of mine said about a certain person that I will not say, like, his name, but a certain person that says he lives in your head rent free.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's right. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've got to go like that at some point. There needs to be an acceptance point where you go, people are allowed their opinions, people are allowed to say what they want, and I can't change it. The only way I can change it is by my actions and whatever, do you know what I mean? And how I portray myself and stuff like that. There's no other way of doing it, do you know what I mean? Some people are just not going to be happy that you're breathing, do you know what I mean? And that is just the reality, right? And you're never going to convince everybody, like, which is fine. But I think when you allow all that to come into play, it's like, I just
hate's
want
like
to
going
go
to eat you up. I really can't.
because the way I am other now, I just want everything done. Like, I just want to go on with my life, live a nice life. I want to help people. I want to help the young people. I want to steer them away from prison. I want to steer people away from addiction. Like that. I've always been like for the working class. I always want to be for the working class people. I want to be, and I understand I've got a unique position where I went to prison, but I educated myself. I got a degree in law and politics, and I could go on and do a PhD if I wanted.
You're a very educated man, bro, to be fair. Like, I don't have any sort of education like that at all.
No, I'm educated, but
a degree takes a
also,
serious amount of dedication.
I think, do you know what it is, Chris, right? I think the system hurt me so much, right, that I knew question every system.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean I think I'm wrong, because I think a lot of the times I'm right, but a lot of people would say, oh, you've got a kind of conspiracy theorist head and you go down these routes. But I don't say it and fact checking it. I always go back and listen, it might be my view on what that is happening, but I always fact check it. And the reason I do that is because I've seen how the legal system worked, and I've seen how corrupt it was and how they were able to manufacture a conviction. And then at the end, like, as I says to you, I've been out now 5 years and we've sent the Crown numerous letters and they don't even write back to you. I think when you've been convicted of something like that, they should be at least saying, recognising you, even if they want to write back and go, look, your case is done. Because obviously I'm writing something saying, go and destroy my evidence, because I think at some point I might come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even write back to you. Do you know what I mean? There's not even a thing of saying, because I believe they've destroyed my evidence. They've certainly destroyed what I needed to prove that I never done it. So I think they've...
A lot of people find these statements far-fetched, but there's a lot of evidence of this happening in Scottish, like, in cases in the past 10, 20 years. If you look at it, this stuff happens.
The boy Liverpool just know there, then, like, I think it was 38 years or something done, and his conviction course there with DNA. And I would challenge. I don't think I've had anybody that's looked. I've not did one person like a Russell Finley's and all that. People who are really very good investigators. I've never had anybody come back and say, "I think you've done that." They've all maybe come back and said, "Look, there's a that part thing like that could," which is a different argument. And this is all I say is that is a different argument. Do you know what I mean? It's whether you believe that I was there. And whether I'd done it is two different things. I don't doubt that I was there, and I don't doubt that I was fighting in it. But what the role I played is what I've always said, and I believe I can prove that I never done that. But you're not allowed your day in court, and I think what that does is it hurts. There's a lot of people that are getting hurt, and as I say, it's like it's with yourself, and we're going to go in and talk about it, like how knife crime is ingrained in Scotland for some reason. It's like part of Scotland, and I can genuinely say it wasn't something that I was ever involved in when I was younger. It certainly wasn't. I'm not saying I was an angel. I was like kicked about the streets and just like any other normal person, but I was never involved in knives and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but when you go into jail, and this is where I'm going to kind of challenge you on it, is it's like an education in crime.
Yeah.
So when you go into at such a young age, right, it's like an education in crime. So I think if you were to go in and look at a prison and look at a hall for even 20 minutes, I think you'd be like, oh, right, I'm going to change the narrative on this petition. But that doesn't mean that I think you should change the petition, because your petition is doing well, and it's bringing up, it's raising questions, it's allowing these conversations to happen. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's something that you should stick with. But also just, on one hand, just remember, if somebody a wee guy at 18 goes to jail for 2 years, he's getting 2 years ingrained with a thingy. And listen, you probably get a lot of this society that would say, well, if you're carrying a knife, you deserve whatever you get. So which the kind of opinions that see when you're like talking to people in society, like your normal, what is the kind of...
Well, to be honest, right, what you're saying isn't wrong, because a lot of like, my vendetta against it right now is the normalisation or the glamorisation with youth, right?
Yeah.
Because like what you just said, like Scotland's always had its problems with knife crime. Well, like what we spoke about before, not that the East Coast doesn't have a problem. I've always found that the West Coast was like where the serious problem was.
Yeah. Until
London, like I'm sure Glasgow had the stab capital of Europe for fucking...
Oh, it was a long time.
A long time. So yeah, like I heard about it from where I was. There was like there was incidents. There's always going to be people who carry knives. They always say this. We're never going to change the mindset of somebody who's like in their mid-30s and carrying.
Aye.
But yeah, I was never... I blame it on like since the crack is took over. That's heavily what I'm saying is one of the rooted problems of it. I call it the top boy culture, bro.
Aye.
Like when we were speaking about with kids and just before, you had to be like a bit of a boy to sell drugs. Like you're going into... I've been sitting with kids now that are like 13, 14 years old that have got drug lists like they're chemists on Snapchat, like things like Viagra, ketamine, cocaine, like stuff that when I was their age, I didn't know what that was.
I know.
And yeah, it's
all done with emojis and stuff, because you think you know everything about drugs. Obviously, I work in that field, and you think you know everything about drugs, and you go to maybe one of these courses that they open up, and it's like it's about the youth, and you think they're not going to learn that new, and you come out and you're just like, wow, like I can't believe I've just watched there. Like I've just watched like 13, 14-year-olds, as you say, big lists of stuff, and you're just going like 13, 14. I've got 2 boys now, right? And I want them to have the best life that they can, and I don't want any fucking trouble coming their way. I don't want them getting involved in any stuff, and but you worry about it. You do worry about it. It's a worry you get. Do you know what I mean? You go like that, like I don't know. It's just it's no nice. And I feel as if, I don't know. You're on the streets, Kris, more than me, right? But I feel as if it's coming back. That knife culture thing, and that is coming back, right? but for whatever reason, the statistics don't add up to that. And I don't know why, because this is where I'm on the streets, when I'm hearing and I'm listening and I'm watching and I'm going, that's not coming back. You're walking up the shop now and there's 20-handed boys. Probably a couple of them are going to be carrying. Do you know what I mean? So where is it? That went away for a wee while, right? So it's, to me, you can see it coming back. So why is the stats no? I don't know. Like,
I've actually asked the police. I've got a meeting with the police next week where I actually might get some stats.
Aye.
Well, I was working alongside the Courier where we asked for the Freedom of Information Act on the statistics of what's actually happened in the city this year. And we're still, I don't know, you get 20 days for it or something.
Aye.
I don't actually expect that back for. I've tried to keep a list of all the incidents that I know about. But a lot of the incidents aren't even told to you, like armed response going
I know.
to like.
And they're not recorded.
Yeah.
I know.
For instance, like an incident that happened the day after we met that we've discussed as well. Like the guy, there was a murder that happened and he was on bail for stabbing somebody 9 times. But again, not a reported incident.
Aye.
He was put to Carsview and then let out after 3 weeks. And
so is he going to Carsview, right? Obviously, and I'm not trying to stick up for the guy at all, right? Obviously, if you're on bail for stabbing somebody 9 times, I don't know. Like, this is where the bail system and that. I don't know. Like, the bail, to get bail, you used to have to be like a first offender.
mm-hmm.
Like, you used to go up and you'd have a chance if you were a first offender. Like, I got bail, right? I was out in bail for a year. So, on a murder charge, do you know what I mean? And
Because it was your first offence.
There was a few other people that I remember at that time, 2005, because what Scotland had done, and Scotland had done on many other occasions, had different laws for different people because we've got a kind of judicial system. So Scotland for years had put a block on any capital charges you weren't allowed bail. So like murder, rape,
like high category.
It was an automatic no for bail.
Yeah, like, that's the sort of way that I thought it was, to be honest with you.
So the European Court of Human Rights came in and says they can't do that. So obviously they had to start doing it. And I think it was we were just like run about that time. And you can call it lucky or you can call it no, because I don't know what it would have been like if we'd all stayed in the jail and I'd been more interested in what was happening. Like, I was only 19 and I hated going to see my lawyer. I didn't want to talk about what was happening and seeing all these statements changing and people that you liked and trusted, like, starting to blame you and things like that. It was horrible. Do you know what I mean? So it was horrible to watch, and you were just going to the lawyer and going, aye, and the lawyer was saying everything's all right still. So you were just walking out thinking, right, he's got this underhand. But you weren't challenging it, and whereas if you were in prison, you might have.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm only saying, but
no, I get what you're saying.
We were surprised that we got this week, I think, called High Court bail.
If you got out, yeah, high court bail, something I know about. But if you get out on bail, it's obviously going to give you the assumption of maybe. Well, in your case anyway, I would assume that would.
Aye, probably. It gives you a false sense of security. I mean,
yeah.
I walked in off the street and get 15 years. I know a lot of people do that. Like, I walked in off the street. So even right up to the verdict day. So see, usually for the verdict, you'll get remanded on the verdict day. They didn't do that with me.
You just watched there and that was
we get back out. So I went back in the morning and got a guilty. So obviously it was a majority. Do you know what I mean? It was a majority guilty. And none of the stuff that we had, none of the forensic reports, none of that stuff was ever shown to the jury. And that was my whole thing, was why that wasn't allowed to be shown. Do you know what I mean? But I think when you get to that stage, and I understand when you're talking about bail, if you stab somebody 9 times, right, you probably shouldn't be out in bail, right?
The problem is
did they have previous to it?
Yeah, he's got previous. The problem is this isn't the only incidents, and it's not even the only incidents this year where this has happened. And like, if you almost take somebody's life, there was another one like a couple of months before when a 41-year-old stabbed a 21-year-old 3 times, and he got him somewhat, I can't remember here, but yeah, he almost died. He was coming out saying it was a miracle he was still alive and stuff, and he got bail. He's still alive now.
And then you do genuinely see shoplifters and that don't get bail. Like, so it is weird. It's strange, and I've not got the answers for it. I just know that Scotland do their own thing. Do you know what I mean?
It seems to be they come down heavier on certain crimes than they do others.
Well, we speak about it a lot. I mean, you look at your sex offender, look at Hugh Edwards and stuff like that. I mean, Hugh Edwards basically, the judge says like the society should go easy on the guy because he was having a wee bit of a mental health breakdown. I mean, some of the stories I could tell you of the guys for the prison would break your heart. Do you know what I mean? But you still lock them up and fling them away and tell them they're this and that. Do you know what I mean? And I'm talking about children that have been brutalised for they were come out the womb right up to hingy, and then do you know what I mean? And then you're flinging them into jail because they're trying to feed a drug habit, try to steal stuff or whatever. And again, I understand society going, well, they deserve it. Like, I'm not trying to like say that there's no a school of thought out there that shouldn't be allowed. Everybody's allowed their opinion, but what I can assure you is you do not go to prison and get rehabilitated. That's all I can see if like I knew that you would. See, like, if I knew that a wee guy, 18-year-old, get caught with a knife and he was going to go and get rehabilitated for 2 years and he was going to come out a better person, I'd be all for it. But I think you're sending these wee guys into jail and then they need to go, boom, toughen up overnight or become a victim, which is going to lead to mental health. Plus, the drugs in there are wild. You've got spice, tizalam, bramazalam, all this stuff it's actually killing people. And people aren't coming back for spice. Like, and I mean that in a way, like, smoking it for maybe 6 months, and then even if they try and come off it, they're not the same person. They're like vacant. Like, it's not the same person. Do you know what I mean?
My experience my experience with Anahan is purely because I've got like a shop at the centre of the town.
Aye.
Like, it's a front view. It is really a front view seat of watching like a lot of people die essentially. But spice is, because it's a jail drug, and this is the only way I'm trying to explain it as, is because the only people I ever see it, the effects of it, are the people that are just out of jail for about a fucking week, 2 weeks, and then they're right back in. For instance, one guy, he whipped out a knife on me about 2 years ago. He came in my shop. I've seen him maybe a handful of times over the past 5 years, and it's always the same. He comes out, he's stealing, he ends up back in.
Aye.
There's one day he comes in my shop and he's fizzing for the mouth, and like just his eyes were like criminally insane. He throws down, he's obviously stole someone from the multi-story that used to be across the road. Comes in with a rainbow rug, like a front door mat rug thing, rainbow, and a deck chair, and he chucks it down in my shop and goes, "That'll be £15. I'll be back later for my money." I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Yeah.
And then, long story short, he whips out a knife. He's fizzing for the mouth outside, and luckily one of my mates came down. He was able to defuse it a bit.
Aye.
But he was just he was gone. He was gone. Like the escalation for me. He came in my shop, done that. And what's he expect me to do? Go there, no bother. There's £15. Away you go. Like, it was an escalation of that. But he had the knife in his hand like straight away. But the only way I could describe it, like, I knew it wasn't anything that you were seeing normally. Later I found out it was spice, but he was.
Aye, it's like possessed, isn't it?
Possessed, a good word. like dealing with a Joker.
Aye. Do you know? I mean, some of the things I've seen in prison, honestly, like I've spoken about it in podcasts before, but I've seen guys walking out and cutting their own throat, like with a razor, like wide open. I've seen guys walking out and boiling hot kettles out of their cells, saying they need to get rid of the spiders. No, I don't know if that's the rattle off spice. It was near something that I ever took. It was like I was always like, I'm luckily because of tizalam and that, I probably would have, because it's a benzo, that I was always eating. It was anti-anxiety. I was like painkillers and stuff like that. That was the stuff that I was interested in prison. And just luckily enough, I wasn't there when the tizalam came in fully like the way it is now. But because I probably wouldn't have got out. I don't think if that had come in, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's that bad. It's took over in a way that I've never heard of the jail being took over. Like, you speak to some of the, like, I still speak to some prison officers and stuff like that, the ones that were all right. And I've had a couple of them on the podcast, and they'll tell you, Sean, man, like, you'd go back to the heroin days anytime.
A lot of people say,
which is bonkers.
Not a jail term, but a lot of people just say they would go back to the smack days because everybody was a lot calmer.
Aye. I think the drugs are so unpredictable now. Like, they are, like, because it's like, It's like, it's kind of, I missed, you hear about the Tamazepam thing, right? That was like before me, maybe 10 years before me. But I know a lot of guys in the jail that were just lifered up and they didn't know why. Can't remember. They knew they'd killed somebody, but they didn't know why. They just knew that they'd woke up in a white suit and they took jellies and just went, I don't know what happened. Like, it was that, do you know what I mean? So they get banned, obviously, for Scotland, I think, because of that. Do you know what I mean? Because of the way things were happening. But I genuinely talked to somebody that's, is no lying, that doesn't have any recollection of what they've done. Now, I'm not trying to justify the boy needs to, you need to pay for what you've done. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say like you shouldn't go to jail because
You didn't know what you were doing.
yeah, do you know what I mean? It's not an excuse, but there is this label murderer, right? You've got this label murderer, and to me, when you say that label murderer, I think of like Ian Huntley and
Yeah, the worst of the worst,
Peter Tobin and things like that. And to have that label hanging over you, like, is it with them? It's like hard because even people don't like. I'll say that to people like that's what I'm labelled as. Do you know what I mean? You're labelled as that. It's not the same as what you think. Most guys that are in the jail that are in for murder didn't mean it. Like, I'd say, honestly, like probably high 80% odd didn't mean it. Do you know what I mean? It was a fight that went wrong, and like something like yours, like maybe it's hit the jugular instead of there. Do you know what I mean? And again, I'm not trying to justify anything, but if you were to take, if everybody was unlucky for one weekend in Scotland, and everybody was unlucky, there would be, I don't know how many deaths there would be, because there's that many violent incidents that people go, how many times you probably heard it quite a lot, oh, it was like 2 centimetres away from an artery, millimetre away from my heart. It was like, you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So imagine that all went wrong for a day. It's mad, do you know what I mean?
When I was doing classes, we ended up with boys for Castle Huntley.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the three boys giving talks, and one of them, he was away to be a pro football player, and he got signed somewhere in France, I think it was. And the weekend before he was meant to be going, he went to a wedding with his girlfriend and ended up driving and sadly killed somebody. And like hearing his story,
I think I know you're talking about.
He was the boy carried himself so well, and you could tell with the way he spoke about it and the way he was that how badly it affected him, but. Just for what you were going on there, yeah, like it's just a silly decision that destroyed the boy's life.
I think restorative justice would be a good thing, but a lot of people, how do you do it? Do you know what I mean? When it's a serious crime, I'm not saying it's for every serious crime, but certainly for people who are maybe like attacked with a knife. Do you know what I mean? Maybe not attacked, even robbed with a knife, because there is a lot of people carrying knives that don't think they're going to use it. There's probably the vast majority are taking it out thinking it either looks good or it gives them a bit of street cred. I don't know.
It goes under the normalisation of it just nowadays, yeah.
Young boys think, no, I've got that. But if you do take it out, there's a chance of going to use it. And this is a problem.
Statistics show if you take it out, so it's either going to be used on you or it's going to be, you're going to use it.
Do you know the stats on that, Chris? No,
I did, but I'm not like some sort of scientist with it. I found it very shocking, to be honest with you. Like the stats that they say, if you pull that knife out, that it's likely something's going to happen with it, yeah.
Aye.
Well, obviously, I don't know if I would have thought the reaction would have been a lot of people would run away.
Yeah,
but yeah, apparently statistics don't show that.
Oh, I think like I've always when you live in the jail, you live in with some kind of heavy people, right? And you end up kind of getting to know a lot of people, and I think if I know that you're a danger to me, so if I was to say to you, Chris, I'm going to do you in, and I'm going to come up to show murder you, right? Most people that know me would probably just be like, "Aye, all right, Sean, whatever." Do you know what I mean? Like
take that as
serious, right? But obviously, there is guys in jail who you would take that seriously with. And I think if there's young boys kicking about the street, and you think, because what happens is it's all fear, and this is what I try to tell people. It's the boys carrying the knife out of fear, right? The boys using the knife out of fear. But that doesn't mean it make it all right. But the whole thing is it's all fear-based. And I don't know where it's fear, if it's just the streets, hanging about the streets, thinking that who you learning it off of I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like,
The science that I've been getting told for the college, which I can't really deliver properly.
Aye.
Like, I'm not like an educated guy, but they try and say that because of COVID and the younger generations now, like COVID robbed kids of the ability, lads, to like to go and like they say break bones, like to like wrestle each other, just to be like lads. You know what I
Aye.
mean? If you get hit, like to learn to deal with that emotionally instead of like harboring it.
jumping it. Aye,
Yeah,
aye, aye.
they're saying like a reason. A lot of that is a reason for like the high rise in knife crime with youngsters because they've not been able to emotionally deal with this essentially. And one of the things like I'm trying to teach in the classes is what was installed with us was it was better to have a red face than a sore face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the line of that is like you could have a sore face. You know what I mean? You could take a loss.
Aye.
You can get punched. You could get like somebody could kick your head in or whatever else. And it doesn't need to go to that extreme where you have to go and pick up a knife
Aye.
to avenge it. It's just like to learn to deal with it emotionally. Like, apparently, it is quite a key, important part of life, which I never really assumed
Definitely.
before. But
I think regulating your emotions is probably like the top thing. If you're unable to regulate your emotions, I don't know if I couldn't name you one violent person that I would say is unable to regulate their emotions. Like, I know people that can jump for
not to 100.
aye, like and you're like, whoa, like where did that come from? Like mega outbursts or like rage, violence. No, that doesn't come from nowhere. That's harbouring
Yeah.
a resentment, whether they are resentments against a system, whether they're resentments against a prison system, but whatever. Like, but you don't, most of the time, you don't get that for nothing. And this is probably where I disagree with you, right, on giving boys 2 years, because I think if we've let them down as a society at a young age and we've no educated them, we've still no gone into schools to teach Waynes how to regulate their emotions. And then the outcome of that is whatever. Like, and you're seeing all sorts. It doesn't even need to be knife crime. It can be like getting involved in drugs, addiction to porn, addiction to sex at such a young age, like over sexualization at a young age. Like, there's so many different things, right, that we didn't experience because we've not got phones and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's through in their faces. Like,
Everything's in their face. I mean, it's mad, right? I can go on a TikTok or I can go into Hang It and I can make a video about the Epstein files, right? And I'll go and research it and I'll say exactly what's come out on the news and I'll get a strike on my social media, right?
Mhm.
On that same page, I can flick it up and watch somebody getting stabbed. I can flick it up and watch somebody getting battered. I can watch it up, flick it up, and nothing. They don't get
it's like it's trying to desensitize us to this, to be fair.
strange. It's
Yeah.
a strange thing that you're not allowed to anything that you call it. Like I on my
No, you're
Twitter-
no, 100% right. You could call it like a lot of people are even saying this nowadays about how like strict Britain is getting with like social media. If you say something on social media or that,
Aye,
but you're right. Like, if you can't say like a daft sentence on social media, why is it okay to be watching somebody? For instance, there was something in Brighton 2 weeks ago. A boy got done with a zombie knife. His face was like half hanging off.
aye,
Like the boy in the video, his mates in the background freaking the fuck out, phoning the ambulance. Like, he's going to die if you don't get here. And this other boy's like filming his face, and his face is half hanging off. And then there's like a picture of when he's been stitched up. I swear to God, like it must be about that.
aye.
You know what I mean? Like
Aye.
the scar tissue of sort of. It's fucking horrific. But yeah, that was on Facebook. That was on Twitter.
Aye, and it's no hard to find.
Nah,
Do you know what I
you
mean?
can find
And
it
you
if you
get
look at
young boys that are interested in. But when I was growing up, you were interested in like Paul Ferris and like the Thompsons and all this kind of stuff. Like, it was stuff that was going on in Glasgow. at the
Glasgow
time.
gang culture sort of
Aye.
stuff. Yeah.
You were interested in like the mafia and all that. So when I was in the jail, I used to read, like, before I started reading personal growth books and stuff like that, I used to read like John Gotti and all the kind of
Teflon
serious
Don.
guy, all the serious crime things. And everybody's got a love for true crime because that's why they're
think
the
people who-
best selling series.
I think people who don't live that life are more attracted to it. Like the sort of the stories and the glamorization, or if you will. Like, especially my dad's like probably one of the most straightest arrows you'll ever meet in your life,
Aye,
and he is just obsessed with the mafia.
aye.
Obsessed
Aye.
with it. Like, remember he was telling me about the Iceman. He was telling me
Aye.
about John Gotti and everything.
But I think it's because like your dad probably grew up with like Goodfellas and all the same films like we did, and it glamorized it. And this is where I always say it's no. I try and always say that it's no glamorous. I can tell you the now. Go and look at Sam and the Bull. Go and look at him, like watch him. He's just a kind of angry old man that still kind of thinks he's, I don't know, like I'm not trying to call it Sam and the Bull. He's a fucking, like he was one of the.
They've all got podcasts nowadays.
This is what I'm saying.
Was it Lastrosa Rota?
Like Cosa Nostra or something. But
they've all got podcasts.
But listen, he was like a serious
Sam and
dude,
Bill
man.
was one under
Gotti,
yeah.
But he brought him down.
Yeah, he was the boy that brought him
Do you know
down.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's a weird thing.
John
like,
Gotti's story was like they weren't liking him from within. He was about like he was the glamorized like sort of Don, was he?
Liked all the mafia were always under the.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's meant to be a secret organisation, and
he kind of brought it to the surface. So like, but again, it was like it was always going to get brought down. These criminal organisations do, and you
every criminal organisation, even like people. Coke dealers are glamorized to the heavens nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But the most glamorized coke dealer to me in history would be Pablo Escobar. He started the whole thing.
Definitely.
But if you look at Pablo's story, Pablo was on the run and fucking couldn't do much of anything for the past, since 89 till he died in 93.
He lived a few good years.
Yeah.
And then basically...
He had too much money and they wanted
him.
him.
His son and all that, like, had to... Did you ever see that?
He's never been to Colombia since.
He can reconciled with... Remember they killed the Justice Minister?
Yeah. Was it Lara? Somebody, the one that got shot?
So they reconciled the sons. It was actually quite a powerful...
Yeah,
powerful
I remember
program.
that, yeah.
Because you seen Pablo Escobar's boy when he was young, shouting into the camera when he's died, I'm going to get
after he's been killed, yeah.
But again, you look at even El Chapo, right? El Chapo was probably the kind of newest one. El Chapo was, when he got caught, was saying, I've been working with
what's their cartel called?
Was this
Sinaloa?
Aye, but he was trying to say he'd been working with the American government for ages. It was the ATF, Arms, Tobacco and Firearms.
Oh,
So he was like, I've been working with him for years, and he was wanting to bring in all the stuff to show that he'd been working with them, and they ended up doing him with one murder and importing cocaine. So they couldn't show that these things
He's been working alongside them, yeah.
Because it's mental. That like people don't realise how deep these things go. And the higher up you are in these things, obviously you get your hardcore criminals that are very, very anti, would never speak to a police and that. You get quite a lot of that. But you also get name me a film that you watch at the end that it doesn't turn into a grass.
Well, even like Pablo's story, the Cali cartel were one of the reasons for catching him, weren't they? They were the rival cartel.
I mean, if you look at it, they just kind of went off. This is a chance to get him out
Yeah,
and take
exactly.
care. Do you know what I mean? And
Then they got a few good years, and then it was their turn.
that's it. Do you know what I mean? So it's never good. It always ends in a bad way.
There's always looking over your shoulders, man. That's the one thing I've seen for years and years. Is the whole industry, the game, whatever you want to call it, is not. Whoever's at the top of it, they're always looking over their shoulder.
Aye. And I think as younger people coming through, and listen, I don't know how you deal with it, but what I would say, right, is I always kind of go back to it. There's the special unit in Berlin, right, took 40 of the worst, like 40 of the worst. Now, in my head, right, if I think of the 40 of the worst prisoners that I remember, right, like, I'm not going to name names, but just 40 of the worst people that I can think of, I'd go, no way you could ever change them. Never in a million years would you change these people. They did. They changed 37 of them. There was only 3 reoffended. You know what I mean? So Jimmy Boyle, my good pal, Johnny Boy Steele, love Johnny Boy. These were people that were real fucking hard criminals to deal with. Like
Jimmy Boyle, that's a sense of freedom, is it?
Aye, sense of freedom, aye.
The sculptor Jimmy Boyle, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, and sorry, who was the other one? Joe Steele?
Joe's brother, Johnny. Joe, I love Joe as well, but Johnny Boy like escaped from jail three times or something. I don't even know where you would start. It's even
He escaped and then changed himself to Buckingham Palace, did he?
Aye. So that was Joe. That was his brother,
Joe.
Joe, but Johnny Boy was his brother. but there was Larry Winters. There was you can watch the documentaries on there. It's an older kind of documentary. It's filmed in Berlin, but it was an experiment. So they brought some of the best doctors, the best psychologists in the world together. They brought like behavioural therapists. So it wasn't prison officers. Obviously, there was prison officers involved, but they basically gave them responsibility and went, do you know what? This is your area. The special unit's your area. They allowed family to come in. They allowed them to go to events. They allowed them to chase their passions. So it became
something to be proud of.
Something to be proud of. And they also were working with officers and all that. It wasn't an us and them culture, because the responsibility was between them all. So if they had a disagreement, they would air it out. So I think every week they would do a circle and they would air out the problems and what was happening, who had gripes or whatever. It's an amazing documentary, but only that. See, if I offered you the new a 90% success rate on changing boys that went into jail with knife crime,
Yeah, no, you would take it all the way.
Take it and go like that. Aye.
So what happened with that then? Why did that get scrapped? Or
I think the public were kind of outraged that, because obviously they'd read all these names in the papers, Jimmy Boyle and all that, all these people in a sense of freedom, all this kind of stuff, and obviously they're going like, well, why are they getting special treatment? And then you'd obviously other prisoners saying, well, we're behaving and we're not getting that treatment. Do you know what I'm talking about? So there was a lot of kind of so it was an experiment, but to me, that's an experiment that you should have went, right, we're going to build on this.
It's a high success rate when you think about it, yeah.
Listen, 37 of the worst prisoners in Scotland, if 37 out of 40, I mean, you're never going to get that again. Do you know what I mean? And I think just the whole prison system, the new, is just, it's a mess. Like, it's a mess. So that's where, right, so we'll go on to, like, take it on to, like, the new, we'll just take it on to your petition, right?
Go for it.
So what is it, your petition? What's your petition for?
My petition is for, I want funding to stick into the youth development. I want skills hubs where I've built a collective of people who are willing to show, like, a different collective of skills, what they do. Like, for instance, like, what I do with, like, the trainers or whatever, or, like, music writing, DJs, graffiti. I've got like designers and all this sort of stuff that would come on board. So I know the 2-year sentence that's hard because everybody's perception of how this is all different.
Of course.
And yeah, like as a deterrent,
you shouldn't be changed by.
Oh no, I'm not.
Well,
it's just because some people, when you put this out, some people are like 2 years not hard enough. It should be automatic 5.
Aye.
It should be that.
I've seen Andrew Tate in that 10 year. Put them in a Saudi jail for 10 years and stuff.
The reason why I sort of like I listen to what you're saying is because like I'm coming from a point of view where I see it as a broken system no matter what we do. Mm-hmm. That like the addiction problems are something that I'm personally screaming about in Dundee that no one wants to take on board. Like the council, I don't
think they know what to do with it, Chris.
No one wants to fucking speak about it. I just see it as a rat race. Like in the past. Since I've got like that new shop in the past 2 years, I've seen at least like 6 of people I was at school would die. I'm waiting on, there's 2 girls, not to full name them, but I'm just waiting for them to hear they're dead in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Like Leanne and Jade, and I was at school with both of them. Like
that's horrible, mate.
Yeah, see the addicts as well. Like I know that I've got a reputation, but like where my shop's situated in the Wellgate, right? Security don't go there. So if you try and steal off me, like you're going toe-to-toe with me and the boys that we work with. So they don't even try and do that now. Like, there's no much robbing goes on in my store. Like, I'm on a personal level with them, and like maybe they'll try and sell or something, or I'll speak to them. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like any sort of person. But I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. So I do speak, and I know a lot of them.
Which is a great way to look, a great outlook, by the way, because there's a lot of people do think they're better than people.
Oh, we came from the same place.
Aye.
We came from this is what I'm saying. I was at school with these people, and I'm watching them die. Like a boy that I knew, Sam Nicol, he died about 3 months ago, and it was heartbreaking for me because Sam, I was at school with Sam like when we were younger. He got kicked out and whatever else, and he got stuck into addiction at a young age. But his brother got him out of it, And he was living a good life. He got back into football. He was looking healthy. When I first opened my shop, he was in it. He was like, I wanted to buy the shoes. And it was good to see. And then he's sadly lost his mum, and I think he went through a miscarriage thing, and it sent him back on there. And then, like, I was watching him, like, I've seen him get attacked outside my shop. I've seen him, like, fucking fighting and everything. And, like, he was my mate. And just before he died, like 2 days before he died, I think he died on the Saturday, and I must have seen him about the Thursday, the Wednesday. And he was giving me, like, I'm away to go detox, I'm away to go rehab. And I'm just like, good luck, bro, you know what I mean? And then I hear he's dead, like 2 days later. He got kicked out of, like, a homeless unit or something. And I don't know, like, I never actually asked because I knew it would break my heart to find out what it was. But this is just one story, and it's just constant. It's just constant repeat, and it's just all the time. And this is what I'm saying. It's a broken system. We're sitting looking at it in this rat race.
Yeah.
And my biggest concern about it is how the young kids are getting involved so early.
I know.
Like, because, like we mentioned before, like what we said, like, if you wanted to sell drugs back in the day, we always seen it as you had to be a bit of a character. You had to carry yourself. I'm watching 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds sell crack to fucking on a daily basis. I'm not even, like, exaggerating.
Probably for pennies and all. And it's not, it's the whole thing is introducing them, and these wee guys probably have got that ego thing. They're too young, they're too immature, and they probably look down on these people that they're selling the drugs to as well. Do you know what I mean? So there'll be an element of kind of bullying and that going on as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've seen that with the young team, and that's just the way you do when you're growing up. I certainly had that kind of opinion growing up, where you were like anti-smack and you hate, like, all the anybody took smack, and you do you know what I mean? Whereas now I'm so
we used to slag them, like, when we were younger and back in the day, like, and we used to take, like, no, like, it's a big thing. We used to take great pride and wind up the junkies. But the heartbreaking thing about that was, like, me and all my mates back then, we knew what it done, and how many of my mates got grabbed to that, and how many were lost in that because of that. It was heartbreaking as well, because they knew the road they were going down. It was just, some people don't have a choice.
I think I know, but a lot of it's, so if you look at adverse childhood experience, right, and you take that into account, like, there's a good friend of mine, he's probably one of the best kind of speakers that I've heard on kind of this subject. He talks about peer orientation and who is it you're learning off of, who's your peers. And I don't really think see the way when we were growing up, there was a kind of older team, and then an older team, and then you had, like, the drug dealers. It doesn't work like that anymore. It's just like there's no. It's just it just goes for like 13, woof, and you're right, and, like, you could be right into whatever. Yeah,
the glamorization of, like, I call it the top boy culture. What you just explained to it there was a brilliant way to explain it, and it's like the structure of the workshops as we were trying to do it. We used to look up to, like, the lads, anybody who was older, dress sense, the way they carried themselves, what they were doing, the music they were listening to. They were obviously looking up to the other generation, so it just filtered through. Whereas, like, I don't really see that now. Like, they're looking up to gangs in London or county line sort of stuff, and they're just wearing black puffers and going about with man bags with crack in it, and that's the subculture. That's my main issue with it. That is the subculture.
And they've got the music and the obviously the disses.
It makes you sound old, right? Because I remember in the 90s, like, everyone kicking off about, like, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and, like, the music they were playing. But yeah, they're on about fucking going about, like, just stabbing cunts now.
I know.
And, like, yeah, kids are listening to that, and it makes you feel old, but, like,
no, I get it. I understand it, because it's you see, especially when you've got children of your own, and you go like. I wasn't into rap music, but I remember listening to, like, Tupac and all that. But there was still always a kind of element of,
there were,
like,
stories to
the
be
working
told
class
about,
and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was like a ghetto, and you knew they were where they were coming from. Whereas now, it's like
no talent.
It's glamorized. It's glamorizing it. It's big fancy videos with, like, loads of smoking looking birds, and I mean that. When you actually hear the amount, I don't know if you ever watched. Did you ever watch the thing about that XXX Tentacion? Did you ever watch that? It was like a rapper that get murdered. It's interesting. I mean, he was definitely a bit crazy. You know, he used to do blogs and stuff, and he would go and batter, like, people with. But he was like a big rapper.
I think I have to. There's a lot of newer ones nowadays that they're all nuts, like that Fulio,
a baby, and all that. Like,
well, there was
actually, like, see that Youngblood and that. Was it Youngblood? No,
he's
Youngblood.
he's
because that we
King Von.
King Von.
Demon at O Block, yeah.
They were like an actual crew.
Yeah, he had like 10, I think he's got 10 murders to his name or
Rico and
something.
that, aye, they were like, and then the I'm sure it was
That's a step above for like Tupac and shit.
That's what I mean. Well, you're going at, then you've got an active thing, and you've got that wee guy, who's a wee Mexican guy, and 6ix9ine.
Oh, 6ix9ine, yeah.
And he ended up in the all grass and all that, and then they all fought out, and then it's like, do you know what I mean? It's mad. It's crazy because these people are getting killed. They're actually, we're watching like people getting killed, and then young boys are looking up to these people. And I know that happened with Tupac and Biggie and stuff like that. And I know there was stuff.
I feel like that was more like how we would like associate with that, like how stuff was done. Whereas, like for instance, that Fulio and that Young and Ace and everything, they're making videos about the boys they've killed and laughing about it after it. And like this is getting viewed like 60 to 100 million times.
I know.
So this younger generation are watching this and thinking, oh, like you kill somebody and laugh about it, smoking it after. Like the effects that that's had on families and.
No, I mean, listen. This is where the problem is, and this is where like how do you get society to want the change, right? How do you get society to view it your way, right? Because I'd love society to be able to go, we need better peer orientation. We need people going in the grassroots that have been there, lived it. Because there's plenty of boys that would be willing to do it, that have lived it, got into schools. But you can't be asking everybody to do things for nothing and all that. Like, this is the thing. It's like, it's people, you're asking people for time and creation and stuff. And then because you've got lived experience, you're expected to do it for nothing. Do you know what I mean? And this is where it puts people off, because people then would go, no, well, I can go and work, get a bit of gardener, or I can go and fit flares, or do you know what I mean? It's like, so you're losing out on that peer orientation. Do you know what I mean? Because you're no willing to invest, and then you would get people back that would go, why are you even paying them? Like what? But which I understand again. This is where we need to get healthy debate back. Instead of just jumping on things when people say things, it's like it's dead easy to jump on something like. Just say like you get somebody that's just been that son's just been stabbed, right? They're going to sign your petition, right? They're going to sign it straight away. They wouldn't even look at it. But then the mother of the person whose boy done the stabbing is maybe going to look at your petition and go, no, they two mods might be exactly the same, but they're looking at it now from different perspectives.
Yeah,
they're now viewing that petition totally different. If one's viewing it as you're going to steal my son away from me for 2 years, and one's looking at it like your son should be getting in fucking jail for longer than that. How do you fix that? I don't know. I've no answers, right? But what I think the public need to know is when you send a guy to jail at a young age, and you send him in there at 16 years of age, and you give him 2 years, and his peer orientation inside that prison is your gangs, all your wee gang members for Glasgow and all your wee gang members for whatever, see, and their bubbles get burst and they need to man up. So now what you've got coming out after that 2 years is somebody who's manned up inside Parliament and is now willing to do more extreme violence. Then you come down hard on him when he commits a further crime. But then he goes into maybe 4 years. Then by this time he's in the cons and he's meeting this person, meeting that person, and you're working out how you sell drugs in Dundee for Glasgow, how this blah 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 blah.
It's one of the oldest stories in time. Yeah, like jail is an education for criminals. Loads of like famous criminals have came out and says that they weren't a criminal till they went to jail.
No, you learn stuff in prison that you can't learn anywhere else, and you get a sixth sense. People tell you, like MD that's been in prison, you get a sixth sense. You can tell when trouble's going to start quite early on. Just looking at things, you get a sixth sense for things. Do you know what I mean? You can read a room well.
See, one thing you mentioned there that always like had me petrified of going to jail, like absolutely petrified, was you knew it was 80 to 90% West Coasters. Like coming from Dundee, like you knew if you went there, like you were going into the fucking Lions Den.
Well, see, when I was younger, certainly like there was the Edinburgh, there was Glasgow. So this is how I don't think it works, right? Sending people to jail, because what happens is you'll get boys for Glasgow that fight every weekend, right? So you'll get maybe boys that I'm trying to take Poso and Springburn, right? they'll fight every single week,
Mm.
and then they'll get to jail, and then it becomes, oh, we're the North End boys, right? So they all stick together, and they've been fighting for years. They all stick together because of the North End. But then it'll go one step further, and then if you go to different jails, it'll be Glasgow boys. So the Glasgow boys stick together. Then you've got all your Edinburgh boys stick together. Then you've got all your Dundee boys who stick together. And Dundee there wasn't as many people in prison when I was in Pullman. And I always remember 2 boys for Dundee, and they were always up for it. And they always kind of went ahead with the boys for Glasgow, do you know what I mean? But there was only 2 that I ever knew.
I know
And,
one of them you're speaking about, yeah.
My big pal John, I'm not going to say his second name, he was a 1 to 100 guy, but he was for Dundee, and he's a good, cracking big guy, doing a lifer. He's doing an LRO, I think called an LRO, which is a life restriction order, which is a shocking sentence. And he's been in there for well over his tariff. And he's a cracking guy, do you know what I mean? To me, these people just need a correct avenue and somewhere to show them. They don't need more time in the prison, because the prison is just causing them. It's causing them to be. So see, I try, and people must be like, he says this in every podcast, but see, when you go into jail, right, everything gets flipped. So your societal views, they get flipped. So when you go into jail, violence is celebrated, drug taking celebrated, anti-authority behaviour celebrated, being troublemaking, whatever that's all celebrated. What's no celebrated is going to education and doing better for yourself and stuff like that. It may be celebrated in small pockets, but it's certainly no celebrated.
Like what we said, it's cool to know nothing sort of thing.
Totally. Yeah. So you're peer orientated by a lot of people would go, I don't want to go to education because you get slagged and all that. I mean, I used to get slagged life if we're going to college. If I go to uni for doing a degree, people used to go, oh, there he is and all that, like Dr. Toll and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that. But it was always in banter, and I used to be able to take it. And there was a few years doing education at the same time. And I was never a hard man in the jail. I was never like a pure hard guy in the jail. That was not what I was known for. But I was quite good at football, and I knew a lot of good boys. Do you know what I mean? A lot of boys had my back, and a lot of boys showed me the ropes at a young age. So you then become that person for the young boys that come in for Cumbernauld. But I certainly wouldn't. The set of rules that I would be telling them isn't a good set of rules.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be saying to them, do this and do that, I'd be saying, like, look, first of all, it's survival. It's like, don't take shit off MD. Like, you need to stand up for yourself, blah, blah.
It's the laws of the jungle, is it?
If you get to a stage where I would always take people to education. I was known for that. Like, I used to be known for like taking guys, dragging guys up to education, trying to get them to go to different classes. But that isn't a done thing. So my problem with the petition would be that you own your good moral compass and your good way of thinking and your progressive thinking, you would be sending people into the lion's den where they're going to come out worse. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
On the other hand, there is a massive school, I think, that go, we're too lenient.
Last weekend, all the incidents I know most of are happening in Dundee. Like, for instance, last week there was a school shut down for like 20 minutes to half an hour because kids from another school showed up with knives. Like, in all my time, like, we used to go, like, fighting with schools and whatever else. Like, that never happened.
Right.
Like, the way I see it is the progression levels of what this, especially in Dundee.
Do you know, Dundee seems bad, but
really bad.
And I'm not saying Glasgow's no, but Dundee seems to be.
Dundee's got the problem. We've had a serious problem with depression and suicide for years that no one really wants to talk about. The drug problem. Obviously, Scotland has the highest drug problem in Europe.
Yeah.
We, as a city, per person, have the highest drug deaths per person.
Totally. No.
Like, yeah, it's a cesspit of absolute depression, to be honest with you. If you're not on a good road, then it's very easy to be stuck there forever.
We obviously, you know yourself, like, that's how we met Kris, right? It was like me and Jordan taking the film Junkie and doing the Q&As.
Which I've still not seen, by the way.
I'll send you. I promise I'll send you tonight, right? I'll send you tonight. I'll get a link at 5 on the night. But taking that into schools, taking it into colleges, taking it into unis, getting the Q&As, and they're powerful, man. Like, they really are powerful Q&As. And it's getting people involved that are going to speak about, because what you do is you get a lot of people that maybe come up at the end and go, listen, my dad or my
It's going to
uncle,
trigger a lot of people.
a lot of people.
When we were in that talk, I remember you speaking to Jordan and saying, I think the boys were triggered at the start or something.
Aye.
I never got to see it. I don't think there's many people in Scotland who can't say that they're not affected by addiction.
No, it's huge. And this is the thing, is like we're offering a product which a lot of people are interested in, but you're no people are there's that the budgets aren't there for it. Do you know what I mean? There's no, so the budgets aren't there for us to go in and take it into wherever we're wanting to do road shows. We want to take it into every city and every town and show everybody and get these discussions talking, because obviously there is things in it, like it shows that the biggest distributor of methadone in Western Europe is Berlin. You know what I mean? Like that's quite a shocking fact.
The questions I could ask you about methadone, I wanted to do it on that stage at the time, because that's the
hit me with a couple.
Right, for a start, like they go on methadone and they never seem to ever come off it. It just seems like methadone is designed to have them on that for life, basically.
So the government call that the gold standard. The World Health Organization call it the gold standard, right? So methadone's the gold standard for opiate substitutes, right? Methadone, to me, we argue that there needs to be a more balanced approach. People think, like, see the guys you're talking about that you see down the show that will tell you they want to go to rehab. I'm not going to rehab because there's no places.
Because they call it detox a lot.
Detoxing's basically when you go into hospital for a few days and get a couple of Valium and then kick back out. It's no, there's no work done on. So rehab, you would be going to, like, so see the Castle Craig. Castle Craig's one of the best in Europe, right? Scotland don't use it. It's 90% funded by Holland.
Oh, no.
So Holland use it. So it's 90% funded by Holland. Now, the people that I know that went to Castle Craig that are flying now are like people that are massive, like Anne-Marie Ward, James Docherty, people that are massive voices in the kind of that world, the addiction world, recovery world, if you like. But I think people generally think in society that you are mad with it. You've got a habit and you just go to your drug worker, I need to go to rehab, and you go to rehab. Your drug worker will say to you, no, I want to see you getting better in the community. I want to see you getting better in the community, and I want to see you coming off it, and then I want like a 2 or 3 month abstinence period before we even start the paperwork. So that person at that time might be deadly, like, calling out for it, and this is why people get themselves to jail, because they go to jail and you've got a better chance of going into jail to come off it. Because methadone, a lot of people, so methadone was actually created by the Nazis, right? And it was Hitler created it, right, for them to go when they went to go and fight Russia. A very strong opiate based substitute, and it does have a place. See if it's used well. But we've got a thing that's called buprenorphine. It's got Espinol and the Jag, can't remember, Buvidal Jag, right? Which is
this the one that's dearer, but like
it's got a huge success
rate,
but it's
got
dearer,
bigger success
you know what I mean?
rate.
So methadone again is like, so the MAT standards and stuff like that, like, yeah, they're all supposed to be, and that's medically assisted treatment standards, and that they're still not into law yet. So that's what people were saying, they're no longer going to get voted down, and unfortunately that bill got voted down, the recovery bill. So that was years and years of work. So that basically means that they are going to start building more Hunter Streets. They're going to start building more safe consumption rooms. No, I don't have a problem with safe consumption rooms, right? But I don't. How can you make a safe consumption room and still have an illegal substance?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Nah, it doesn't. Nah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and then there's other things that you just go, people don't really know that there's a clinic now in Hunter Street that's giving people real heroin. So there's people getting taxis there and back, there and back. I think they've got 20 people there and back that are on heroin, like genuine diamorphine. No, and they're getting injected it. So they're getting taxis down there, paid on the taxpayers' money. Now, like, again, I don't care. Like, people can say I'm all for welfare system, I would put much more money into the welfare system. I would take all the money off the billionaires to fix our society because it's them that ruin it. But that's only my opinion. But again, it's like, where do you draw the line on this? Where do you go? So we're just saying it's all right then to take drugs?
Well, outside looking in, like the reason that I even asked the question, because it just seems to be like, for example, like pharmaceutical companies are owned by, let's say, the Tories, or let's say it's like something like that, and it just seems like it's a constant way of funding these pharmaceutical companies. Like Oxycontin in America, like I sort of see it.
If you watch Dope Sick, innit?
Yeah, like I sort of see like a similarity there. You know what I mean? It was, they knew what they were doing. They were putting it out. Like what did they make off it? Like 34 billion.
And they get fined 5 billion, I think.
14, I think, at the end.
Is it?
So they
still made. I know it's. I mean, that story is bonkers. Like when you watch that, do you know what I mean?
It's all addiction, is it? Like the methadone to me just seems like they're quite happy to have them there and keep them there, and like it's just going to. It's just a constant like paycheck.
So Ash Regan, I had Ash Regan on the podcast, and Ash Regan called it. I'd never heard it, but he called it part. Like that must be like I think that's maybe the Edinburgh term. You get part on methadone. Some people have part on it for 30 years. No, listen, if that's going to stop you if you committing, going out and living, committing crime and whatever, then that's fine. Like that, you should. I think harm reduction's got a place. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't just say not it. But see, when people say I want to come off it, there should be a lot more help.
Yeah. It seems like at the middle stage. You know what I mean? You're keeping them in limbo to that next stage of you want to be totally clean. You want to be off it.
Well, the real problem now is crack cocaine, right? Crack cocaine is taking over now. So there's no replacement drug for that, and this is where they're struggling because they don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no replacement drug. There's no methadone for crack cocaine, and they're actually trying to put people on methadone that are on crack. So they're going now because they don't. It's insane, right? And then with the street Valium as well. There's no replacement drug for that because you don't really know what you've been taking.
Mm-hmm.
You're going in there and you're going to have taking 100 street Valium a day. It might not be, certainly no diazepam you're taking, but I don't know what it might not even be a Tizalam you're taking. So if you start getting somebody a high dose of diazepam, it could kill them. So there's a lot of people that know willing that like going, I don't know what to do. It's a hard one.
See, for instance, remember when they were making the dodgy street Valium at the start? Like I know a lot of people who were taking it to like come down off the weekends and like they never woke up.
Aye,
like, that happened a good few times.
Aye, no, it's starting, Chris. It's going to keep happening. It's because people going to their weekends and then they always took a few Valium to come down.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I knew Valium was. Like when you were growing up, I knew some guys that used to take coke and they would that was what they done. They would take a few Valium.
It was the end of teen apart drug. That's what I mean. You know what I mean?
Take that, cut it out, to go to sleep. That's a lot of people done that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was. But again, it's how these drugs all work. It's like, what is it that? So why is crack cocaine took over? Nobody can really answer that, right? Is it because the Taliban have shut the gates to the kind of opiate fields, and now you're getting the fentanyl coming through? Do you know what I mean? Which is just going to wipe people out. See, when that like the netizens and that really hit hard, it's going to kill everybody. So it's like, again, it's what does society want? Because see, I can only say, like, I sometimes go and I hate the Daily Record and I hate the Sun and I hate all the papers, right? And I hate the mainstream media because they don't report things right. But sometimes I'll get caught with something, maybe like saying about something, and then you'll go in and read the comments. And the comments show you what society think.
Yeah.
And it's fuck them, like, give them this, give them bread and water, blah, blah. And all I say to people is, listen, have that view if you want, but don't moan when they come out like a fucking cannonball full of spice, because that's what you're sending them. So it's like James Docherty says it, you wouldn't see like a soldier that was there in the Helmand province fighting for his country, patriotic, come back, very bad trauma. You wouldn't go like that at a housing. You know what? We've got you a house in the Helmand province. We're going to put you in the Helmand. It would be absurd to put that person back in the place where he was traumatised. But that is where we're expecting everybody to be better.
Yeah.
So you're going back out to there and get better yourself. The willpower that you need to do that to stay away from your group. Sometimes it's family. Well, a lot of the time it's family. Family are embroiled in it. Friends are embroiled in it.
It's one of those things, like, once it gets a hold of somebody, I only know a few boys that have ever came out of it. I think I said it to you when we first met. The only people I know who have actually came out of it, the only way they've done it is by finding God. That's it.
That's one way. One way. God, recovery, like obviously, but that is kind of finding God. That's going to like the fellowship and stuff like that. So
there's some place in
find a higher power.
is it the Haven? I think it's this side. If it's not here, it's like East Kilbride or something. A
Aye.
lot of boys from Dundee get sent to the Haven.
So you've got like, see, like Turning Point, Phoenix, like other Turning Point, Phoenix, just Sacro. They're like some amazing workers, like really are amazing workers, but they're so stretched. You know what I mean? They're like so stretched. And this is where it's hard. It's because I think there's a big gap between the kind of, you'll see it in Dundee. People will go and see their drug worker and they'll go like, that's me after crack pipe for 3 days, and they're like, right, let's send you a community service. And you're like, no, they're not ready. They still need to go to rehab and address their addiction. Do you know what I mean? They're not ready just because they've got a few days clean time. What you're doing now is you're sending them away back home just to fry their nut for 3 days, and then they're probably going to take
End up in the same circles.
Aye, and then this is the roundabout. But we go in. I've not got the answer for it, right? I really don't. But I think what you need to kind of concentrate on, in my opinion, is you're doing some amazing work. Like you really are, and you're getting a lot of traction. Do you know what I mean? Which is great as well. People are talking to you. People are trusting you. You're going into college. You're going into school. People are doing so. It's amazing what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? But I just honestly, I would look a wee bit more at what happens to these boys that get the 2 year.
Oh no, definitely. Like, from my perspective, like, I've came for the same places like a lot of these boys have, and I've lost loads of mates to like going to jail and doing daft stuff as well. And I've see what one of the it might have been different for you because of how extreme your sentence was, but when we were younger, like a lot of people used to come out of the jail like it was a badge of honor. You know what I mean? That was their talking point. And it's like before they don't get out of that mentality until it's too late. You know what I mean? It's like the world sort of passed you by. So that all the people that would get sent away would have been my sort of my peer group when I was younger, and I understand that. And yeah, like listening to it, like maybe it isn't the best alternative for some of these people, but there is no deterrent for it. This is the problem. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, like, see, when I've been promoting this campaign, I'm hardly ever saying we need to send them away for 2 years. They need to go away for 2 years. The main thing I'm focusing on is the youth development funding to put something in place.
Yeah.
To, you know what I mean? To give back to these kids to say, like, look, fuck the glamorising the drug dealing. Like, have dreams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was sitting saying it to the boys in this class. Like, I'll not tell you the exact figure, but I was like, glamorising drug dealing. Like, I told them what I made last month. Says I made that last month. That's what's went through my bank. You know what I mean? And you could do that too.
Aye.
You know what I mean? If you had like another business, like say a construction business or whatever else, you'll probably fucking like double that.
I know.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people, a lot of these wee guys are, as you say, it's like they think the big money's there, but really, if you go and chase your dream and you go and do what you're doing and live in it, then like it's like you're living your dream. Do you know what I mean? And you're living your passion, which allows you to give back to the community, gives you time to go, right, how do I help my community here?
Yeah, like I've always been able to grow the respect of the city because, well, every Christmas I'll raise for the homeless. You know what I mean? I'll make sure they're clothed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially there's 50 kids in Arthurstone. We've done that for a couple of years, and any sort of charity stuff. You know, like with the work where we could, like Nine Wells Hospital, we've done it for like kids units or anybody you could like just hand in. You know, you could throw in a hand. We've tried to do it.
Aye. Just
because, like I told you when we met, it's like I called it the ghetto sports shop. Like we were in the ghetto, you know what I mean? So it was just like give back and whatever else. But like I just do that because I wanted to do that for Dundee. Like there's never been any awards for it. There's never been any like real like gratification for it. It's just like you're in the position to help. So
I think you've got like obviously like Katie and stuff like that. She's great. She's like she's brilliant.
Oh yeah, no, very intelligent.
And you've got people like in the colleges that have got your back. Dundee College was impressed me, like at, how progressive they were compared to other colleges. They were like we've been at a couple of colleges now. Do you know what I mean? And it's always been great. The Q&As have been brilliant. But Dundee College, like what they put on and how they put it on, and then wanting us back in January to kind of do it with the staff and stuff. I mean, the progressive thinking they've got there was really it really impressed me. Me and Jordan were impressed with
That's
it.
just
Do you know
cool,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like the other colleges were great and all. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I think Dundee kind of stood out for me a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? In the way that. They just the work that they put into it and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And you can see the passion in it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what you need. And you need to have an open mind. This is what I try and tell people. It's like, in my opinion, right? Would you rather send a boy to jail for 5 years, right, and know that he's going to come out a lot worse, possibly with a broken psyche where it's never going to come back, right? Or would you rather send him into somewhere like the special unit where you know he's going to get rehabilitated and have the possibility of change? To me, it's a no-brainer. And I understand it costs a bit more money to do the second part, but if you were to stop at the crime and the addiction and how much it costs for that one person on the taxpayer, then it's worth it because you can put that money back in. Plus, listen, these fucking billionaires that everybody talks about is going to save the day. Oh, Elon Musk and this one and that. Where is the money that they're putting into society? They don't put fuck all into it. I mean, I know they do their charity work and they'll do their own thing, but that'll just be a charity branch of what their thing. And there's no actual real passion in wanting to change society. He actually, I've listened to him. Like, I'm just picking on Elon. Like, there's loads of them, Zuckerberg and Soros, and but they're all the same. They don't. There's no grassroots stuff for helping the working class. It is literally just, I don't know. It's like as if it's like crazy bonkers fucking policies. Like you're either what that or you're that. Do you know what I mean? And you're not allowed to bring back a healthy debate the way it used to be. Like a moderate socialist and a moderate conservative used to be able to have a good talk, and you could talk about where no, we could privatise this and we should put more money in that. But that's away now. We don't have that. That's like it's just totally obliterated. And I think in Dundee, I think that is one of the places you see it most. I think Dundee's really hit hard by it.
Oh, crazy hit hard by it. One of my philosophies behind this is, and I'll take the city centre for example, is I used to look at the city centre like that was my favourite place in the world.
Aye.
All the shops, all the life, like all the excitement, the buzz. Remember, like in the 90s when the scores used to come in, like loads of boys would be standing outside Dixon's looking at the TVs and stuff. Like I used to love that. And now it's just a fucking wasteland. So my theory behind it all is to try and get back and is to invest into the youth, because none of this is ever going to change.
No.
Like just giving Dundee as an example, is a massively creative place. Like after the View took off, it showed like this whole generation, like me included, that like you can actually do something. You know what I mean? Like the world is your oyster. Like just because we're from like this wee shitty cold part of the world that no one hardly ever does anything doesn't mean we can't.
Aye.
So the idea is to hopefully install like creative possibilities for these youngsters to like try and make that town centre like, you know,
vibrant.
What I mean? Yeah, like
I know.
just, and the way it's going, it's heading to nothing. Like the town centre is full of addiction. It's just full of crime. No one wants to go in it. Everyone wants to do online shopping and all this. When we were speaking about like the shop earlier on, like that's something that I want to keep installed, because it's some place that people can go. You can like where people know your name, like where you feel comfy, some place you want to go in. And I feel like that's getting lost more and more and more.
No.
That's what I want to try to bring back. That's like a philosophy of it. A selfish one, maybe, but
no, I don't think so. I think we need more. We need more Kris Boyles, to be honest. Like we do, we need like each city needs to pick up and if you listen, if you this is where you've got two options, right? You've got the option of like, this is in my opinion, and I'm only using your petition as a hanger, right? But you've got, do we send these boys for 2 years to jail that are carrying a knife, or do we invest in them? Right? Now, that's a hard question, right? Because a lot of people will say, no, well, if you carry a knife, you should be going to the jail. But on top of that, when you go to the jail, you're going to commit a worse person, right? Stats would tell you you're going to commit a worse. You might be the 1% that goes in and finds God and comes out a better person, right? If you invest in something, take it like a special unit, then you've got a 37 to 40% rate of the worst criminals coming out and doing something with their life. To me, that's a no-brainer, right? But you still you still will have parts of this, a massive school of thought that goes, no, get them in the jail. They deserve the jail. They're animals. They're carrying knives. Now, none of us know why that person's carrying a knife. If you're going and grabbing a knife and you're just going to go and rob people and stab people and that, then you should be going to jail, right? But if you're living in a household where your dad's saying to you, go and fucking take that knife out and get him, you better fucking do that. None of us know the reason and why he's taking that knife. So this is only my opinion, but blanketing something and saying everybody gets a 2-year sentence, I think you're missing the individualisation of why that person's carrying that knife and missing the opportunity to go, what's wrong with you?
I feel like we should be investing anyway to make society better. Like, it's obviously, like we said, a broken system. We need to invest. There needs to be a change in it. Totally. Right now, there is no deterrent. I've sat in classes with kids who are like 13, 14 years old that have got like possession charges for weapons on multiple occasions, hatchets. I swear to God, the wee guys like this size. They don't know what they're doing. They generally don't know what they're doing, and the 2-year sentencing is a deterrent. I don't know how true this is, but I heard in the 60s in Glasgow there was an automatic 14-year sentence for carrying.
No, I think it was 4. 4 years, 4 year. Certainly when they brought in a 4-year automatic thing, but nobody really. It wasn't getting implemented the way people were saying.
The one I heard about was one in the 60s, and they said that it dropped it like dramatically. I don't know the full.
I've never
stats.
seen. So see if you think about like take any society, like I've never seen crime getting punished. I've never seen punishing criminal. So take it like America, take Britain, take anywhere, any of these countries. It's not a deterrent. Even the death penalty is not a deterrent. You know what I'm talking about? Like the death penalty in America is not a deterrent for this gang culture and all that. They still do it, even though they know they're going to get the electric chair or whatever, the jag, do you know what I mean? So to me, that doesn't work. What does work, and it's been shown multiple times, is when you go to like Scandinavia and that, and you're a much more open, and you take the person, and you work with the person, do you know what I mean? Well, listen, this is where the deterrent, there needs to be a deterrent, clearly, because obviously...
The problem, like, see if we use, like, just for example, the Dunblane case, right? Obviously, like, knives are totally different for firearms. But after the Dunblane case, and I think it's called the snowdrop thing.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, the sales of guns, like, you couldn't get that. There's never been another school shooting in this country or like something along those lines since that was in place. Like, obviously, we couldn't do that with knives. Like, knives are too accessible. But for instance, zombie knives, like...
No, they're crazy, but I can assure you it's very easy to get a gun in Scotland.
Yeah, I've seen
it's very easy.
I've seen 3D printed guns and everything.
It's very easy to get a gun. You know what I mean?
But like, it's more the theory, but it's not being accessible. And like, if you look at the American school shootings, for instance, compared to like R1 and like the way we've handled it after that, like, but people always say like the theories on the gun laws over there, but like, I'm just on about like the incident never happened again.
I know what you mean. But the laws in America, like, it's mostly mental health people, and I'm not trying to justify it because but it's usually people with very bad mental health that go in and do these school shootings. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know how you deter that. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you've got guns and you're selling it in like Asda. Do you know what I mean? You can go in and buy a fucking rifle and a machine gun. Do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
it was
many
actually-
of their killers you hear they bought the
there was
gun
actually
that day and
somebody-
stuff.
There was actually, I can't remember if it was Louis Theroux walked into a bank in Texas and it was like, you got a free shotgun. Like that was what you got when you opened up a bank account. And it might have been Louis Theroux or Michael Moore. I think it was Michael Moore actually.
Yeah, he's the.
And he's like, the guy, so if I open this bank account, he'll give me a shotgun. They gave him a shotgun in the bank. They went, it's mental, like you're giving me a shotgun in the bank. But I think I just try to copy America's mental because it just doesn't work. But I think keep going with what you're doing. Like, I think you're doing amazing work, honestly. And I'm only challenging you on.
No, I get what you're challenging on it.
Do you know what I mean?
There does, the way I'm seeing it just now, and like these kids are like 13, 14 years old and they're carrying now. If they're going to be carrying now and nothing gets done about it, they're going to be carrying in 10 years' time.
Aye.
And it's the influence that follows with that. Like their peer group, if we're talking about one person carrying, that could effectively be 10 to another 20 that they influence to carry.
So it's like peer you're worried about the peer orientation.
Oh, 100%. That's where all my focus is with it. Like,
Which I understand. I do understand that. I get it. I get it. I think I would be much more inclined to do it if I knew it was going to be a good place they were going to. But I know they're going to a hellhole where it's going to make them worse, and they're probably going to come out and buy a zombie knife. That's like what happens. You know what I mean? It's like probably the people that are buying zombie knives are probably the people that have been in jail or have had brushes with the law. You don't just buy a zombie knife.
This is the thing. I'm seeing videos of kids who were 13, 14-year-old with zombie knives. This is the scary thing. See, the one thing about this campaign is like the most active and talkative people about these problems are mothers.
Aye.
And the mothers are not scared to give you information. They're not scared to give you photos. There's things that you see, it's just...
We probably should meet up and like maybe see like and have a discussion about this. Do you know what I mean? I think that'd be good. I think we could meet up and maybe see if there's something we could do with it. Do you know what I mean? And see where we could go, because I understand it. And mate, I don't know enough, Kris, to be honest. You probably know more about me than the youth culture today. I don't. So I'm making my assumption on probably like 2005 if you were to send people back in the jail. So I don't know.
No, I get that. See, when you've been through the experiences, I've never been to jail. I almost went to jail, and like my mate stopped us from going. He took the blame, and like even now, like looking back, like I'm very thankful for him for that. So shout out City. But and I know one guy called Bruce who went, and like he was never the same again. He was never the same again. He's still not the same now.
Bruce for Dundee.
Coincidentally,
I think I might know Bruce.
Yeah, you'll definitely know Bruce. You'll definitely know Bruce. He was stabbed. He was on it with a boy about 4 years ago, because this was like, me and him were like best mates when we were younger. And this was I always found this harrowing. I ended up getting in about 2020. I'd done this Wu-Tang thing, and Raekwon the chef, he ends up messaging my page. So it's like the biggest fucking thing that's happened to me ever. You know, because Raekwon's like one of my heroes. And so it gets in the paper, and that weekend there was an incident where Bruce was on it with his pal and the multi, and they were taking cocaine for however many days, and eventually the boy just flips on him. I think he stabs him like 5 times, and he records it. He records it, so this is all over social media, and like Bruce he's begging for his life and shit. And, like, I remember seeing the video, and when you hear your mate, you're like, I hadn't seen him for years, but when you hear your mate in that position, and like you heard it in his voice, you know what I mean? It was
fear.
Horrible.
And Bruce is not. It's not as if he's a shite bag. If it's the same man I'm talking about, it's like it's brought him to his knees, and you're watching that.
Yeah. He was covering in the toilet. The reason I say it is because in the paper, like one side, I was reading the paper. One side, there's me, with like the photo and what I've done and blah blah blah, and I flip it over, and there's Bruce, and he's getting stretchered out the multis in a life-threatening fucking situation where he's looking like he's about to die. And that's just like one flip of the page. So that's like 2 pals. And yeah, like, and
so see, like, because obviously we're talking, I know because we're coming up to the end of the podcast, right? And it's been, I've loved this. It's been a great discussion, man. It's really, and I think it's been a really healthy discussion on looking at both parts and both sides. But the incident that happened in Dundee no long ago, and I know you had a wee run in with James English, right? What was that? Because I understand, like, but this is where we need to be careful with social media. And I don't know anything about it.
See, one of the most heartbreaking, I don't really speak about this incident too much because of the trouble that went with it, right? But one of the most heartbreaking things about that incident, because it did go viral, was that everybody forgets that 3 weeks before that, on the exact same street, a mother was stabbed to death brutally in front of her daughter. Like, in 4 o'clock, broad daylight. I missed that stabbing by 2 minutes. The boy who I work with, Declan, I would take him home every day, so I'm on that road every single day. And we came up, it must have been about 4 o'clock on a Saturday, we finished it. We came up and this ambulance says that there's a bus, like there's a commotion in the road that we've seen. So I was outside the place called the Planet Bar, and there's a road that goes up the side of it. So we drove up the side of that to avoid the commotion. Like, so unbeknownst to me, the lad, he's done this, and he's going through a psychosis, which has been put out to the public now. But so he's running, and I believe this, he was running to the nearest police station after he'd done it. Because I seen him getting caught by the police at the top of that road, and he was just a wee tiny laddie, and he was like, he didn't look all there. And yeah, it wasn't a worldwide thing. It probably should have been. It probably should have been.
But the other thing went worldwide, and it's because
on the same street.
Aye, yeah, and it's just because of political things, you know, and it suited the narrative. But again, it's like people were celebrating.
Yeah, glamorising kids with weapons.
Kids with weapons, right? And like, I don't know, as I say, I've not got a clue, but I seen a wee lassie with a hatchet and a big kitchen knife, and I seen people celebrating that and saying, well, she should be celebrated. And I was like, I don't know enough about it, but certainly when I was growing up, that would have been something that would have been, you'd have probably...
This is what I'm trying to avoid, because it has split a city, to be honest with you. And realistically, all I'll say about it is all these far-right groups that are glamorising this, it's totally wrong. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, people in Dundee will say what they've got to say about it, but at the end of the day, it's a vulnerable child.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Aye, there's no kid at that age that's carrying a hatchet and a kitchen knife that's no got massive adverse childhood experiences.
Yeah, nah.
I would put any money on that. Do you know what I mean? So what you're doing is you're putting a vulnerable child in a position where you're putting her all over the place. She needs to live with that. This wee girl. Do you know what I mean? And what the backlash, whatever the political stuff comes in.
Oh yeah, nah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, so, it's still ongoing. I'm still waiting to hear if James English has paid for her legal fees. Like, I'm still waiting to hear all this. But yeah,
did James say he was going to pay the legal fees?
Clickbait. So that's how me and him kicked off. Just total clickbait with anything to do with it. But he's claiming he's going to pay her fees and all this stuff. So we'll find out, I suppose.
Aye. Oh, did she get caught? Did she get hanged, charged?
Right now, they have been charged. Yeah, they got charged with weapons at the start, and it's poisonous because no one actually knows. There's no proof. Two adults have been charged.
Aye.
They don't know if it's the Bulgarian couple who they approached, or they don't know if it's to do with like the families or anything. It hasn't been mentioned because of obviously the worldwide exposure of it. It's been kept very close to hand. But yeah, the info will come out.
It's the dangers of social media, isn't it?
Yeah.
And listen, this is what we'll see. We'll see the outcome. Do you know what I mean? And we'll see how it works out. But
the tragedy of that whole thing is they're kids, and like it says at the very start of it, on the same exact street that happened 3 weeks before. You know what I mean? And they're on that street with hatchets and knives. It's crazy.
No, I know, and listen, if this is what I'm trying to say. So you've got a society that want to be hard on crime, right? Like, give them, some people like Andrew Tate, give them 20 years, but then they're celebrating kids jumping about with hatchets and kitchen knives. And listen, I can just guarantee you that wee lassie won't have a great childhood. I don't even know her, but I just can say that she won't have a great childhood. If you're jumping about with a hatchet and as a wee lassie, you've probably got some stuff going on, and more, instead of going and taking the kid and going working with that kid and going, what's wrong with you? Why are you carrying that? Like, work with him, work through what she's going through. She's getting used as a kind of narrative, like on a certain thing. Which she
gets painted the picture that she's fighting all the people off the boats and protecting them and all this stuff. And
a lot come out. This is the thing, but listen, Chris, we're coming up to the end, so I'm going to give you the final message, right? And I've absolutely loved it. It's been brilliant, and it's been great to have you on. But I'll give you the final message to anybody that's watching, any of the young team of that kind of watch it, and just give you the kind of final message, bro.
Positivity brings possibilities. Like, yeah. One of the things that I've been saying in this anti-knife workshops that I've been doing is a saying that got said to me, which I find was probably one of the most important sayings I've ever heard, is if you go about with 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th. Just meaning like your social circles and the people you surround yourself with. You know what I mean? Surround yourself with people who want to see you do well, who are like, they're doing well, you could learn off of stuff like that. Because if you go about with 5 addicts, what will you be?
Yeah. No, totally, and it makes sense. It's something that I've heard a load of times. But listen, Kris Boyle, anyway, where can we find you on the social media?
Instagram, Dundee Sole, Facebook, Twitter, fucking TikTok, everywhere.
And the clothes are banging, man. Clothes are banging. I'm still waiting that Bluestone Island jacket.
I'll get you, bro. I'll get you.
Right, thank you very much. Brilliant.
Legend, bro. Thank you.